So I'm going to take a moment to talk about what is the composition of a DAO, at least in my opinion. And actually, I'll argue this is the composition of any autonomous human system. A firm would follow this model too. It's just that this edge up at the top, this participation one's pretty weak, if present at all. So we have a couple things going on here. One is we've got a community interacting with a set of rules about how they're allowed to interact with each other. So you can do stuff. Some of the stuff you can do actually happens. When we have technologically empowered systems like smart contracts, maybe what I can do is a function of the current state of the system. So, hey, this is the state. Here's some information that is essentially automated in the sort of control theory sense. I'm saying, cool, the state of the system is I have 10 Bitcoin. I can send up to 10 Bitcoin. If I try to send more than that, sorry, you can't. That's not in my can-do set because of the state feedback here. So we actually have these dynamic systems in an automation sense. They can become much more complex over here, but this is like algorithmic, state-based access control, rights management, state-dependent outcomes. Something like Uniswap says, when I transact and I move the price, then I'm actually going to realize the price that I acted upon. Bonding curves have this property too. That's all the yellow box, and it just describes what we can do. It's interesting to see what we actually do. But then this outermost loop is really important because until you add that loop, this isn't really an autonomous system because it's not self-steering. It may be automated, but it becomes autonomous the moment that it's sort of closed loop on itself, defines its own adaptation, its own goals. Like if this system had a set of goals that were encoded in this yellow box and it was steering, then through this green box, we could even change those goals. Those goals could become out of alignment with our human level value system, and we can only fix it and steer ourselves if we have the green box in place. And we're not very good at the green box yet, so we got a lot of work to do, but we really have decentralized autonomous organizations when we close that green box loop effectively. And in particular, we got to remember that this is pretty true even of centralized organizations just without this line, that someone from outside is just saying, hey, here's your goals, here's what you do. Our move here is to get rid of this outside, like, actor controlling this loop and make it a link here. And for that, we actually need to be informed. It's not really good enough to close the loop. If we're steering, we got to make sure that we're sort of steering effectively. And so that'll be probably a whole nother talk. I don't really have time to do it today.